Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing something very different. I'm going to be trying out a new tool. Now, in my previous video, I covered Google Analytics. This is the sort of web tracking and analytics platform that Google have. You can connect it to your website. And in the last video, I showed how to connect to it in Tableau. Now, Google Analytics itself is part of a much bigger product, which is called the Google Marketing Platform. It's essentially a tool for marketing purposes that allows you to use different services to bring together intelligence about how your products are performing on the web. And so obviously being able to track your website is an important part of that. But they also have other products, Data Studio, which is a reporting tool, Optimize, surveys, tags, 360 displays, and basically a whole suite of tools allowing online marketers to better understand how their products are doing. Now, today, I actually had this article pop up in my stream. Google kind of shoved this in front of my face, and it was a little sort of post about getting started with Google Data Studio. And I hadn't actually clocked that it was a reporting tool in the past. I'd come across it, but I hadn't clocked that it's a reporting tool. And I read this post just very quickly. It's a 3-minute read. I'll put a link to it in the description below. It's by a chap called Pranav Kaushik. And I read it, and it looked really straightforward. So I thought, why not let's try and do this for the first time? And do it live on camera. So I haven't actually tried to follow the steps that he's put in his blog. I'm going to do it blind. I'm actually not going to follow his blog post, and I'm just going to see how it is as a Tableau user, if it's an intuitive platform for me to connect to. Now, it's also important to note that this shouldn't be used as a comparison to Tableau. I've been using Tableau for nearly 6 years, and this is going to be the first 6 minutes of me using Google, the Google platform. So this isn't a comparison. This isn't something that you can walk away and say, hey, look, Data Studio is better or whatever. This is just me sharing my experience of using something for the first time. Okay, let's get stuck in. Okay, so to get started here, I'm in the basic sort of Google Marketing Platform page. I'll go ahead and click on Data Studio, and it's actually free to start using. So straight out of the block, here's an immediate comparison to Tableau. I said it wouldn't be a comparison, but this is an important thing to try out. Most analytics tools have some sort of upfront cost for trying them out, or a trial period. Well, here I've just gone onto the Data Studio homepage. There's a button there to try it out for free. So let's go ahead and tap that and see what happens. I'll go ahead and close these other tabs now that I'm into the video. When it loads, you get this interface. It looks kind of interesting. It looks like I'm in my Gmail inbox, except for I'm about to sort of engage with analytical products here. So I'm just going to click on some of these. It's often a good idea to just click on something else and see how it's been brought together. It looks very much like the interface I've seen in Google Analytics in some respects. You can choose sort of start and end periods. You can choose predefined periods. And the nice thing is, this is all entirely in the web. I haven't had to download any software to try this out. So this is another sort of a big plus. So straight away, I'm getting some sort of context here. And if I click apply, because this is a web tool, obviously, it's a little bit more responsive than you'd expect. But you've got some very standard chart types here. You can choose sort of different data sets. In fact, here, what I think I'm seeing is my own data. So I can actually go in and click on some of my own data sets that I have available to me in Google Analytics. Let's go ahead and try and build something new. So let's go back and let's just get started. Okay, so obviously it's my first time, so I get this sort of onboarding screen. Again, this is something I wish Tableau had. It would be a really, really nice feature. The minute you start building something, if you're new to something, it's nice to have this little guide. So you can connect to data, visualize, and then share. The 3 kind of vital parts of analytics. If we get started, obviously you've got terms and conditions here. I always recommend you quickly scan these, but I'm using my own personal account and I'm only sort of playing around with data here. So I'll go ahead and accept. In an enterprise context, you probably want to pay more attention to that as well. Sign up for emails to get the most of the Google Data Studio platform. I'm really reluctant to sign up to these, but I think tips and recommendations is actually a good one. Would you like to receive emails with tips and recommendations about how to get most of the Google Data Studio account? I think that's a good one to finish with. So I'll just click no to the rest and click finished. And please continue with trying to create something new. Okay, great. So here I am. I've clicked on that, and okay, we get prompted with this interface to connect to a data source. Immediately, obviously, I'm seeing Google data sources here. So a USP here is if you're completely sort of connected to the Google experience, the Google data experience, then actually this is probably going to work out really well for you because it's already got native connectors right in there. So Google connectors have their own sort of section. And these are the ones up here. I can even connect to my YouTube analytics. That's actually pretty cool because getting that data out of Google YouTube is actually requires an API. So immediately, there's already a USP here that's quite unique. Google are obviously making it very easy to connect to their own data sources, which you'd expect. They've also got databases that are hosted by Google. So maybe if you've got these running inside of the Google Cloud Platform, I'm assuming that's what these would let you connect to. You can build your own connectors. It's good to see that as well. They've got partners here. So there are 208 partner connectors. So connectors built and supported by Data Studio partners. So this also informs me that there's quite a big crowd of professional partners who are building connectors that Google is endorsing here inside of the product. So this again is quite cool. In the Tableau world, this would be a web data connector. There is a web data connector, web page. But here it's actually in the product as I'm connecting. So it's apparent to me what I can connect to. So if I was just to type in YouTube, for example, you see I'd get the YouTube connectors from partners as well as YouTube's own connectors. And this is really cool because it allows you to see instances where maybe a partner connector can do something that the native connector can't, if that makes sense. So it's really cool. And they've also got this section for open source connectors. That's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to see that. If I just close that and then just go to my data sources, I'm wondering what this is. Okay, so these are sample data sources, a bit like Superstore sales that you'd get, and these have been dropped into this instance so that I can connect to them. Now, the data I'm familiar with is Superstore sales, and obviously that's not going to be in the Google Cloud Platform. But what I can do is I can bring it into Google Sheets. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to probably fast forward this process because this is really boring. I'm basically going to try and bring in Superstore sales. In fact, better than that, I'm just going to upload the file rather than create that. Let's just see if it supports Excel. It doesn't outwardly immediately say that that's a connector. So I'm assuming Excel itself isn't a supported connector, but maybe you have to go through Google Sheets. CSVs and Excels aren't the same thing. So let's try and do this first. Data Studio uploads your data to Google Cloud Storage. We need your authorization to connect to Google Cloud Storage. Okay, let's go ahead and authorize that. I should have some enough sort of Google Cloud storage space available to my account. I have actually signed up to the Google Cloud Platform in the past. So let's go ahead and click to upload files. Let's go to my documents. Let's go to my Tableau repository, data sources, and I'm worried this is not going to be a CSV that it's going to see here. That's correct. So that's not a CSV. So already a little bit of a snag here. It seems like through the web, it's not able to natively connect to an Excel file. So let me go ahead and turn this into a CSV, and we'll be back in a second. So I'm just going to fast forward through this bit. It's a little bit boring. Okay, so I've got my CSV file here. I'm just going to go ahead and essentially connect to that by uploading the file. So let's go ahead, click to upload files. It should open up the the location as before, except for in here, we do now have a CSV. If I just make sure that I select it there, click open. Okay, so I've got my CSV file there. It looks like it's processing it. So it's looking at the, basically the total number of files is 1. It's now finished processing it. It's uploaded, it's 2 meg. 3% of my 100 meg used. I think this might be my sort of file limit. Creation date and last modified date. So let's go ahead and add that. Okay, cool. So you can obviously clearly add more files and then can potentially connect more information to this, if that makes sense. So I'll just go ahead with this simple data set for now. It authenticated me there, and okay, now we're inside of the product, and this is interesting. It's actually taken one of my columns, order ID, and it's immediately started to sort of create something very simple. It's got like a canvas here that we can see, and then across the top here you've got the tool pane. On the right you've got the blue and green that we're familiar with in Tableau, denoting dimensions and measures. You can actually see that it's got the available fields list here on the right hand side. A little bit disorienting because normally this is on the left. In most web pages you read from left to right, so by putting it over there I think it's a little bit difficult to see it, but maybe that's just me needing to get used to the platform. I can obviously add different aspects here to this table. So it's obviously chosen this particular table type. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to delete this. I'm just going to not try and use any of the hints that it's giving me, and just let's try and go from scratch. So now that I've deleted that, it's giving me themes and layouts. This is actually quite cool. It's making me think about the design up front, and it's kind of interesting. These look like the kind of layouts you get in Microsoft Excel or Office Word in terms of design. So let's just click. What happens when I click on one of these? Okay, nothing really happens. I think it just themes the content that's already on the canvas, but because we don't have any, there's nothing for it to work with. So I'm going to go here and click add a chart, and now we can see the different chart types. You've got a scorecard style design. This is really cool. Time series, a couple of others. These look like the standard chart types that we're used to. But the cool thing here is, where we talk about mapping, they've obviously got Google Maps. So again, that is a USP. Not many places can you drag in a Google Maps sort of item here and have that as part of your chart. Okay, and that is really cool. Okay, I did not expect it to do that. I dragged in Google Maps, and what it's clearly done is it's looked at my data and it's gone and got the country of origin and it's dropped it into the view, and it's using Google Maps to do that. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot. In Tableau, we've got Mapbox and some other really rich sort of assets, but here we've got Google Maps. I was trying to preview it, but actually I think I'm in the build view, so I'm not able to preview it very well. If I click view, then yes, okay, that gives me the ability to zoom in, and it behaves just like Google Maps. I can even sort of go down to street level view here, right inside of the visualization. I don't know why you'd want to do that, although I have dropped myself here somewhere very interesting. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's go back and let's just zoom back. How would I reset this? That goes full screen. Let's exit that. We don't want to go full screen. Okay, cool. I think I have to go back to edit here, and then we are where we need to be. Now, this page is very sort of wide. What I'd probably like to do is change the layout. So let's add the width here. I found this on the right hand side. So let's make this 1600. Okay. And if we just scroll down there you can see that, okay, it just sits in the view nicely now. So we'll have this here. Now, what I've got in my mind is this visualization in Tableau. This is the default view that you get inside of Tableau when you open up one of the sample workbooks. And I'm just going to try and get as close to this as I possibly can and see where we end up. And this could take a while, so apologies if you're watching along and trying to see how I do. I should have done this as a live stream, but it's just a spur of the moment idea I had. So let's call this, what do we call it in Tableau? Executive Overview Profitability, okay? So let's just type that in. Cool. I can't type. Now, I really like the fact that this is in the browser. My laptop fans aren't spinning. Everything is nice and smooth. It's just in the browser, nothing to install. I'm straight into my sort of analysis. And I am going really slowly here because I have no clue what I'm doing. But I'm just going to try and see if I can set this up. So we've got another chart here with monthly sales by product, office supplies and technology. Okay, cool. So the other thing is this map is a Google Maps map. If I delete it, let's just see if we add this other one, a GeoMap. Well, what map format does this give me? Okay, it gives me a filled map. Cool. So Google Maps is obviously a specific map type. Okay. Now, interestingly, Google Maps zoomed in to the area that I was actually interested in, whereas this has given me an entire world map. I'm sure there probably is a setting here to change this, but we'll just leave it as is, and then we can kind of try and figure out what we're doing here. If I look at these options, what does it do? Okay, cool. Now, just looking at some of these options on the right here, you've got the ability to blend data. Okay, so there's a little bit of a demonstration here about how to blend data. You obviously create some sort of relationships. You do joins here, and again, I have to give it to Google here. This is in the product because it's in the browser. It's innately very easy for them to link to this. So I just basically clicked on this information icon and it popped up this tab straight to the documentation. And this can actually be sort of a big deal breaker for a lot of people, because a lot of people will just spend time getting frustrated in the product, never thinking to go to support pages because they sort of expect things to be intuitive. So having that nudge there just makes it that little bit easier to find what you're trying to do. Right, I've done a lot of talking. I really need to start building charts here. So let's try and add another chart. And for this one, I think we want an area map. We're going to put it over here. Notice as I do this, it's giving me little layout hints. Man, I wish this was in Tableau. Let's just drop this here, and let's just see if we can drag this out. Yeah, we can. Cool. Okay, it's filled it with something. I didn't want it to fill it with country. So maybe here I'm going to have to start checking this out. So it's got the breakdown by dimension. I don't want it to be broken down by anything. So interestingly, I dragged the country onto the canvas thinking that would remove it, but actually it's dragged a map. So I need to just right click on that and then delete that. Okay. And then go back in here. And I think if I just remove this over here, I actually can't remove it. I can change the breakdown, but I just want to remove the breakdown entirely. I guess I haven't got the other object to break it down by. So in this case, we'd need to basically check if the item is profitable or not. So let's go to Tableau and let's just go see the condition that's actually coloring this order profitability. Now, where are we here? Trying to find the ranges that are used here. So where is it? Where is it gone? Let's just type it in here. Order profitable or not. So okay, so here's my calculation. Oh god, it's a fixed level of detail calculation inside of the calculation. So I basically just need to find if the profit is greater than 0 or not at the level of the order ID. Right, so let's go ahead and see how this can be done. Okay, so let's see if we can add a custom calculation. You've got the dimension here, which is the order date, and that's what's going across the bottom. We have the record count, which is, assume this is the number of rows. Let's say I was to just replace that with profit, then this would give me the total profit, yes, by the different countries. I actually don't want to do the breakdown, so I need to really figure out how to remove this. Let's just say I do that. What happens if okay, I can drill down the dates like we can in Tableau. That's pretty cool. Let's switch that off. breakdown dimension. We can create a field. Here we go. So we can create a field right there. That was a little bit hard to find. Okay, so profitability. Let's just paste that in. Oh, that's my web address. It's not copied the format of the calculation. So let's just click that again. I'm just going to take that as is. It's a little bit rogue to expect this to just work inside of Google, but let's just go ahead and delete this, okay? And just see what happens if we say sum of profit is greater than 0, okay? Is that a valid calculation? Okay, invalid formula, invalid input expression, unsupported, okay? So let's just see, it's got these squares which Tableau needs. We don't need that in Google. So now that looks to work. Unsupported operator greater than. Okay. So, okay, let's just do something else then. Let's just say we do that. And we don't do a text. It should be a Boolean. Let's see if that changes anything. Okay, so this is already proving a little bit tricky. Let's just see how we can solve this now. Let's just say, okay, this is the profit. The profit is greater than 0. Unsupported operator greater than or equal to true or false. Interesting. So this is correct. I can't think of any other way to write this. So let's just clear this and go back. Okay, it's obviously got this calculation and it's given me an error here. So let's just add a field here. And when you do that, you get this option to see all the fields, right? And I think if I click add a field here, we get to the formula. So I can just paste this. And I'm hoping here I can get a little bit more assistance as to how to write this calculation. So it gives it like an ID. We can call this profitability. And again, the way I'm writing this isn't making sense. So in this case, what I'd normally do is I'd go over to Google. Surprise, surprise. Interestingly here, it's not actually giving me the the option to learn how to write a calculation. It's not giving me any sort of hint anywhere. So whilst I congratulated it earlier on, here it's not doing the same thing. So we're going to have to go ahead and do that. So Google Data Studio formula. Cool. So let's just see sums. So here, aggregation sum of the thing you want to do. That's correct. Okay. So let's say Google Data Studio Boolean. Here you go, Boolean, that sort of thing. How to work with Boolean data types. So I've got this this article here, but there's also this thread. So okay, so there's the case thing here as well. But I think that's typically something else. So let's just see. Okay, that's a case again. How to work with Booleans data types. So let's see. Okay, cool. So here we go. Here the field is revenue greater than forecasted revenue. Only two possible things, true or false. For Google Sheets, the value true and false. This seems straightforward, doesn't it? Yeah, it's not going to work. When you create a report from the data source, which is this file revenues Fooker, you'll get system error. It's happened because Studio did not recognize a Boolean value stored in Google Sheets as a Boolean value. Instead, it treats these Boolean fields as text fields. Okay. No matter how you store Boolean fields in blah, 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 the Studio won't recognize them. So add a field, enter the following formula into the field. Okay. So this is interesting. New, for example, enter the name of the field, enter the formula in the formula field. Right, make sure you see the green colored check mark at the bottom of the formula box. You've entered the formula correctly. If the formula, see the symbol, instead of the green check mark, the case when is revenue true, then true, else false end. This means if the value, okay, great. Right. You can now see new calculator listed in the data source schema. Okay. When you create the report based on this data source, which uses new calculator, it will look like one of these, yeah. Following is a short video. Okay, cool. So let's just try this out a little bit. So if I go back to all fields and I click add a field and I say profitability. Let's call version 2 because we're being rather successful. Oh, what's this formula? Okay, this formats the formula. Oh, let's click on this help little icon. And let's say, we can click on this Boolean. So this time around, I seem to have found the the help thing. And when I type in Boolean, it comes up with this case command. So I think it can only do this using a case command, which seems a bit odd, but that's fine. Okay, so let's just try case. And then you can say let's just do this. When profit is greater than 0, then, and this one you want to say true, sorry. So this profit is greater than 0. So let's just type in the function true. Yeah. When profit here you go, you got some auto completion going on there, is less than or equal to 0, then false. You can see it's also doing auto completion there. And then you just need to type end here. Okay. And this one seems to work. So okay, that's my first hurdle there. I think understanding the way formulas work in Google Data Studio is really important, but thankfully you can just problem solve it like you can anywhere else. And it's actually good that there was a community article on this already. That's a really important part of learning Tableau, right? So you always need to be able to Google and find these solutions for yourself. So here I am in real time just finding that solution. So I'm going to hit save, and then what I can do is I can hit finished. And what I can do is bring profitability version 2 in place of that one. There we go. Okay, great. And we've got this true and false here, but you can see it's very, it is actually separating. You've got two different colors. I can't see the colors too well, but that's fine because I think it's just the theme that I've chosen. So the next thing I'm going to do is I need to actually choose the right level for this date going across the bottom here, okay? Because at the moment it's by day, but actually I think I just want it by month. So let's try and figure out how to do that. So let's remove the year and just keep the year month, and let's see what happens here. Okay, very nice. There we go. So we figured that out. We can ignore the colors for a little bit. Also, the order of profitable and not profitable is not in the right sort of order. So again, we'll need to come back to that. Okay, I'd like to give this a title. So, okay, there's no, let me click on the style tab here. If I click on the style tab, click on the style tab, go to style, and then, is there a title thing here? I can show the axis, I can change a few things here and there, I can even give it a grid, customize it. There's quite a few design options, I have to say. This is actually quite nice. One bugbear in Tableau is the fonts, and oh my word, this uses the Google Fonts API, of course, so it has a slightly nicer range of fonts, if that makes sense. So you can obviously probably customize the fonts that you want to see in that list as well. I'm just assuming that's a feature because it's a Google API to use those fonts. 100% stacking. Okay, cool. So this shows you the percentage of total, which is kind of nice, although that doesn't make sense. 100% stacking. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? Interesting. I'm not sure what that actually means, 100% stacking. I can do a running total. I can show the data points. I can show labels. That is messy. Compact numbers, what's that? Don't understand these, but I'm assuming there'd be documentation. You can color them by series order or dimension values. And yeah, okay, cool. When I click on those values, you can see here I actually get a color pane that allows me to manage these centrally. That's quite cool. So let's go down and click on true, and let's just make this. Let's make our own custom colors. Nice. We get a little bit of a nice sort of color palette here. So let's choose like a nice green here. Let's just go down. There you go. That sounds good. And false. Let's just go ahead and choose maybe an orange. Maybe a bit more wild here. Just click on orange. Cool. So we've changed those two. Hit close. And now you can see that it's filling there, although it's doing something weird with the fill in between. So the line and the fill are slightly different variants of the same color. That's really frustrating. And yeah, that's kind of annoying. Anyway, we're not done with this chart, because if I go back to Tableau and you look at furniture, office supplies, and technology, we've got this sort of breakdown here. And this breakdown, I think, is the category. Yes, it's the category. So we need to try and see if we can break this down by category. Right, how would I do this? Now, I've got the profitability here. Then it's got the metric profit. And so I think I'm just going to just try and see what happens. If I put, wherever, can I add a dimension there? Yeah, let's put category there and see how does that break things down? It doesn't at all. Okay, let's bring it back up. Okay, that doesn't seem to be doing anything, which is a shame. But let's just click a preview in case it's a bug. Oh, cool, you get nice tooltips when you hover over these. So that's kind of nice. It's kind of done for me. Nice, and it even gives you this hover over the axis. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so let's go back. How do I break this down? This is the challenging thing, you see, when you try something new and you don't know what you're doing, and you're just trying to figure out, how do I break this down? All right, when in doubt, just try and put this thing pretty much anywhere. So we've created one for profitability. I don't want it to break down that metric again. I want to see if I can just do that. What does that do? Oh, interesting. That replaces the metric that's on there, which is frustrating because that's not what I want to do. I can go back here with undo. Okay. Let's go back again. No. Okay, the undo button's not actually working here. Right, okay, it's just not working. Okay, cool. So let's click on the chart again. And let's drag in profitability version 2. Let's replace that and just get back to where we were before. I think my only option in this, at least for the sake of this video, not make it a half-an-hour video about how to break this into two. I think what I have to do is I have to filter this and then duplicate it 3 times for the different categories. That's the only way I can think of doing this very quickly. I'm certain this is me not understanding how to use this, although that might not be the case. So let's apply a filter. Let's add the filter first, and what we can do is we can. I'm getting a few bugs here as I'm using it. It might be my laptop's. You can now hear the fan going. I'm recording a video in the background, so that doesn't probably help. But let's bring category here onto. Can I scroll down? No. Okay, let's scroll down even further. Add a filter, category. No, okay, you have to add a filter. Let's say, where are we? Where's category? Okay. So it makes you build the filter manually, right? And the categories we're interested in are furniture and office supplies. So let's start with furniture. I'm intrigued that, okay, it's making me build this. So if I hit save, right, there we go. So that's very interesting. I also think this chart is wrong. So this is the furniture department. I don't think at any point the furniture department gets is negative on profitability. There is no profitability, but it doesn't drop below 0. It could just be actually that this chart in Tableau is not showing negative values, right? Because if I go to edit the filter here, you can see that it's showing the full range. So if I do that and hit apply, what happens? Okay, so it does go negative. Click OK, and if I edit the axis, just to indulge this a little bit, I just do minus, let's say this is actual hard sell, so let's do minus 100,000. Yeah, you can see the profitability never sort of goes below 0, right? You can't have negative profitability because you'd have to literally be giving people money, if that makes sense. So my chart in Google isn't quite correct. I think the way it's aggregating this is making it so that we're actually seeing instances where we're potentially selling something at a massive loss, and it's aggregating those by the month, and so we're not able to see that. It's sort of behaving slightly differently to how I'd expect. Okay, that said, I can duplicate this. There it is. And we get this nice ability to sort of line these up. I have to say that's much easier than in Tableau. Let's duplicate this again. And let's bring that down here. Okay, great. So this one was furniture. The next one should be office supplies. So let's go ahead and get rid of that one. It doesn't change my previous one, but then I do have to go in and add a filter here. So what I have to do is I have to bring category in here and then create a filter, select a field, category, yeah, equals to. It's a shame that it's not auto-filling this. I feel like I'm missing a trick here. So let's just make sure that's, yeah, that's correct. It's spelled correctly. Hit save. There we go. There's the office supplies one. And then this last one is technology. Cool. So let's, in fact, if I just clear that, add a filter, create filter, select a field, and equals to and technology. So I feel like auto completion should be a feature here, and I'm probably just missing it, and that's why this is behaving this way. Cool. So where are we so far? Let's just say I said at the beginning of this wasn't going to be a comparison, and it shouldn't be. But as a first-time user, I've with some understanding of Tableau and another analytics products, that does help me here. I'm sort of looking for synergies between the two products, and actually, it's got me this far. I've got a basic map. I've got this chart that shows profitability, right? And I'm actually able to start to understand what's going on with my data. Now, earlier on you saw me look at these themes, and I think what these do is they wholesale change the look of the dashboard. So let's say if I click on this, you see it changes the whole entire look. And man, this is something I've always cried out for in Tableau with style sheets, actually, where just have some of these themes here, and just in the click of a button, it changes the whole chart to match that specific theme where possible. And so I think that's really cool. It doesn't seem to be changed these because I gave a specific coloring for true and false here. So it's also respecting my personal choices that I've made in this particular space. Whereas here, I haven't made a choice about that yet. And when I go to a dark layout, it actually keeps those same colors. It's not changing those as well. So it's just quite cool to have that kind of capability. And actually, now that I do that, I can see I have an issue there. If I can actually drag this down, now we have something that looks kind of cool. Now, this map, I'd like to zoom in. There's so much that needs to change on this. Number one, if I go back to the view, and this is taking so long, those three charts, I couldn't figure out how to separate them, so I had to build three charts to do that. And then the same would happen here, so that would be 6 vertical charts. I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm just going to try and get this world map to show the profitability on the actual color. Okay, so I'm going to take the profit ratio, which is a calculation. We're going to try and put that on color. So I'm a bit lazy. Let's go ahead to Tableau and let's grab the profit ratio. Let's go. And the reason I'm using Tableau as a point of context is because, well, that's the tool I'm coming from, and people are typically coming from another tool and they want to try and bring their understanding as well. So analytics tools generally need to follow sort of the same principles so that, users can just hop in and out of many tools. Because if I'm strictly honest, no analytics platform uses just one tool in their stack, right? You either use this database, that platform, and you use different things for different reasons. If I knew how to use Google Data Studio, I'd probably use it to build my YouTube Analytics dashboard because they already have a connector right there. Okay, and so it's just something sort of to be aware of when you're working with this kind of data. Now, I've selected this map. I've obviously got this option here to change it to a Google map if I wanted to. And actually, the Google map has these sort of nice elements actually. I wonder if I can make it a filled map at the same time. Let's have a see. So we've got this. We've got these options at the top. I think maybe in the style tab, if I click on the style tab, click on the chart, and then click on the style tab. Here we go. Right, okay, so you get the map, okay. You get the colors, you get the bubble there. You can change the size of those bubbles. You get colors, but it doesn't let you choose the specific fill type. Okay, and you've got the theme and stuff like that, and you can kind of reduce the complexity to do with things like labels from lots of complexity to no complexity. I like that slider actually. Rather than in Tableau, you have to choose the levels manually, and this one it just gives you a slider, so you can kind of just choose the level of detail. So that's kind of cool, and in some respects, it's kind of a nice to have feature. It's not a necessary feature. But I can't seem to make this a filled map. So let's go back to the one which I had before, which was a filled map. And maybe when we go to the style settings here, we might be able to change a little bit of the context. You get this little sort of toolbar across the top when things are happening. And so now that's loaded up. Cool, we're back in here. Let's go to style. And we've got different size. So mid color value, min color value. Okay, so you can choose the color that drives the formatting. We haven't created that calculation yet. I can't seem to make it zoom in on this particular area. I don't know what it would take to do that, but that would be a really nice feature to be able to just zoom into the scope that's actually shown in my map, because there's no need to show me the whole of the world when I only have European data in here. Okay, yeah, again, if you know what I'm doing wrong, drop something in the comments and let me know what I should be doing instead. Maybe I can crowdsource some knowledge on Google Data Studio. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that as is. If there's no other way of showing that, but what we can do is we can correct this this profit ratio calculation. So let's go ahead and the record count is actually what's on color, I believe. Okay, so the number of records. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a field, and we're going to create our own. I'll just paste the profit value that we saw before. So let's just remove that. And then this is going to write an aggregation. It's good to see that basically writing it the same way. Okay, this should be a valid calculation. Yes, it is. Great. So let's type this in. You get like a field ID. I assume these can then be called in APIs when you're creating them. It's nice to be actually able to see that in Tableau. This actually happens as well, but what you have to do is you have to know what it's called in the data source, and it can be really, really weird. So it's just nice to see that metadata here whilst you're creating it. So now we've created a profit ratio. I'm just going to go ahead and drop that onto the metric. And now we see this color range. So what I'd like to do is change the legend. Let's try and see if we can change the legend. Okay, we can show the legend here. That's fine. Oh, so you can change. Yes, okay. So you can set the top. Okay, I see how this works now. So you can set the max color value, which in this case, let's just keep it as blue. You can set the min color value. If I just click out of this, if I go to maybe this red here. And then the middle value we can set to something neutral. So I think I'm just going to set this up to like a very, very light yellow. So you can kind of, we're trying to kind of emulate the Tableau map here, but obviously you can see that this is just very sort of basic. So if I just go preview this very quickly, you can see here that we obviously get some really nice capabilities here, and you can download that specific data just from these three dots. And again, you can drill up and drill down. So this is kind of cool because I think I broke something in doing that. Oh, I removed the information. Okay, cool. So I now know what that does. This drill toggle lets me cycle through whatever's in the drill down tab, but I don't think it should show you that if there's nothing else in the drill context. So if I go back to editing and I click on this chart, you'll see that there is actually a drill down context menu, and it tells you what you can add to that drill down. And I took year and month away. So you can see here I've got drill down, and it's only got the profitability as a breakdown dimension, and it's got category and year month in here. But fundamentally, if I don't have something in there, it shouldn't be showing me that at the top. So that's pretty much it. That's actually been a really interesting sort of journey, because I'm sure with maybe a week, if I did exactly the same training that I've done in my first month of Tableau, I'd get extremely comfortable with this. And it's an inviting tool. And there are already some aspects in this product that are better than what we have in Tableau today. So, I don't know when Google Data Studio was launched, but out of the box, it's got some really nice capabilities. The last thing I'd obviously want to do is these big numbers at the top. These are actually a chart type. So we can just go in here and just add a total. These are just totals, right? So it's funny, in Tableau, what you'd have to do is you'd have to create a sheet, then format it, then make it big. It's exactly the same step, but here it's just giving you that as an interface items, right? So the profit ratio is 0.13. Okay, that is actually correct, 13%. Look at that. Okay, so the thing here now is, how do I format this as a percentage? Right, so we've got a, let's see, how do I format this metric data type? So if I click on this, how do I default range? And so here we are, we're in this position where I need to tell the tool how to format this number, and I can't figure it out. That is the right number. It is 13%. I tried double clicking, no. Interesting. So let's see what we can do. Date range, data control. What's that do? What does data control do? Okay, maybe, it lets you change the data source. That's cool. I think I saw this in one of the other demos. But that's not what I want to do. All right, I'm gonna have to ask you guys to help me out here. How do I change that into a percentage? It must be straightforward, right? I'd expect some sort of formatting option. I'm not seeing it here. I don't believe I'm missing anything here. So maybe if I go back to the field interface, okay, so here in this interface, okay, cool. So I think I found it. It's not immediately sort of where I'd expect it to be, but this is a number, numeric, percentage, and I would expect this then to change, right? This is a number, percentage. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right, that took a while. It's a shame there's no immediate option right there. So that was a little bit of a hurdle. But interestingly, I think now that I know how to do that, sales and profit are the next two. So let's just bring these in. Let's do total sales. We can just do that there. And this one, it's going to be, all you have to do is you have to click on that, and then I can just sort of replace that value with sales. Okay. Right, we're on to our next issue, which is how do you, okay, I guess I know the answer to this, which is go back to my fields. And what I need to do is be a little bit more diligent at the start when I bring my data in by defining what the columns are. So I'm going to do that in bulk here. So the discount is at a different level of detail. Record count, this is number of records in Tableau. Text, where do we have more values here? Quantity, profitability, profit. This is a currency. Let's just call that British pounds. It's nice that it has a different currencies in there built in. That's kind of nice. Discount. Discount is a number. That's fine. Sales, where's sales? I can search the fields here. So actually, let's just type that in. Let's just be a bit lazy and just search. I think what's happening now is that my laptop is really not liking the fact that I'm recording a video whilst doing this. So that's fine. We'll just have to allow for that. So sales, and this should be a currency. So this will actually go here and do that. It's unintuitive to have currency and numbers in different places. I'd expect a currency to be a subset of number, if that makes sense. But hey ho. Okay. And this is cool, but okay, you've got the default aggregation here. So if I go to sales again, the default aggregation is sum. I can give a description, but I can't choose the level that this shows. So I want this to say 2.9 million. I think that's correct in Tableau. It's different, actually. It's 3 million in Tableau. So maybe I'm not connected to the same data source. 3.4 million, whereas here it's 2.9 million. Yet the profit ratio is basically the same at 13%. So it might be slight differences in what I've actually connected to and the sample workbook itself and what that connects to. So, but that's fine. So let me just give this more space. Now, how do I make this say millions? Okay, this is all formatting again. So you can choose the number of decimal places. Let's say 0 here, and that will disappear. Oh, I see. Compact numbers and automatic. Okay, cool. So that's a term I've never heard of before, but taking this compact numbers detail is actually kind of interesting. You can also do a comparison metric to that. So let's say I have the same value from the previous month. I could actually add a comparison metric. I think comparison date range. Okay, cool. So I can choose previous year. Hit apply. And okay, it says no data, but I assume this would mean that because obviously this is there's no data in this time frame, but it's really nice that it gives you the ability to do a comparison straight away there. So if I was to go back far enough and actually choose the date range relevant to this thing, then I think I'd see that there. But again, it's not being smart with those timelines. It's not really showing me that here. So okay, we'll just have to leave that as is. But that is a cool feature. I'm expecting that's what it would do. If I actually had data up until today, this would do the comparison for me. And same here, right? So if I was actually able to choose, I could choose a profit ratio from the previous month and then have it. Oh, actually, it's appearing all the way over here. That's so weird. Previous period, apply. Again, no data. But now we can start to format these a little bit. Oh, that's cool. When I was adjusting that, can you see that it shows you the similar proportion to the next thing? So it figures out you're trying to line them up. Again, that's just such a neat feature. Okay. So yeah, this has taken a while, but I'm actually discovering a lot of things that it has that Tableau doesn't have. And whilst I could do this I would have done this in 5 minutes in Tableau. But the point is, this is a new tool, and I'm sort of discovering how it works. Look at that. Look at that placement hint to just drop it there. And, that would just be so useful in Tableau, honestly. The amount of time you spend ages putting things in containers and just, yeah, it can be really, really tough. And I'm definitely hitting some sort of limit with my computer and the fact I'm recording this video at the same time. Hence, things are taking a little bit longer here in the browser. Yeah, so the other thing to bring in is profit. So let's just I'll do profit and then we'll probably call it a day there. Let's put profit on there. And we now know that we have to go here to style, compact numbers. It's automatic. Interesting. This one's gone to thousands, 372.83 thousand. Okay, that's fine. We'll leave that as is. And again, we can do the comparison if we wanted to. And you could just do previous period. Hit apply. Okay. So if we have a look at that, now we're starting to sort of get somewhere. Now, the cool thing is in Tableau, you normally have interactivity. So rather than spend ages building out this top level, I want to try and see if I can add some interactivity to this entire chart. So the first thing to do is to add filters. And there's this filter control option here. I know this because I've used Google Analytics. I know that icon means filter control. So if I just click on that and bring it in, here we go. So it didn't work the first time, but you can choose a country or region here. And I can just place this here. And I assume then what will happen is if I go to my visualization and I deselect that and just select, I can't deselect all, which is an interesting sort of challenge. But check this out. It's actually got the values of the profit ratio in here. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. I like that. I like that. So I can select France, for example. Let's give that time to think. Again, I don't think this is the performance of the tool. This is my browser and my laptop struggling to do a recording and also handle what's going on here. I've got another sort of app running in the background as well that's probably eating the performance. But you can see here that, you know, that filter isn't just a filter, it's giving me context. I can actually see where there might be a problem already. For example, Ireland is a good place to go where there is a lot of negative profitability. And this filter is applying across the whole entire sort of, you know, data set. And I can obviously deselect all and choose. It's got a really nice search function there as well. And yeah, it just works really nicely. Cool. So, okay, that's been a really interesting sort of journey. The last thing I'll do is let me add a date filter. Okay, and when you add a filter, okay, what it does is it kind of cycles through the different measures. So interestingly, let me just see what it brings in. So it's brought one for profitability. So I can just look at the unprofitable items on their own. And then if I bring in another one, and this time I want to filter by date, and let's see if I can change the filter type to date. So I've got a really buggy experience here. Yeah, it's got the order date set up. So interestingly, it's actually made some really smart decisions there. I didn't tell it what filter to bring in, but it's clearly got some sort of context of country, profitability, and order date. And when I just bring more filters in, it kind of goes through that rank of importance and figures out what I'd like to see. So now if we go back in and hit this, you can obviously just look at the profitable and unprofitable items, but also I can see anything happening on a specific order date. Now, that's not what I was expecting. So if I go back into edit, I might be able to change the way this order date filter actually works, because at the moment it's treating it like a dimension and actually like a, you know, a start finish date kind of selector, or the last, you know, 12 months kind of, you know, periods like that. And I'm assuming this might be done in style. So we've got this pop-up menu, fixed size, text. If I go to data and scroll down, again, it's not really giving me the kind of filter I was expecting. I can see it here when I go to my own filters, right? But let's show me the top and the bottom. But I can't seem to change this size. Can enable the search box. I think it's because it thinks the order date is a dimension, which it is, but it's also clearly a date. So it knows that here. Okay. So I'm not able to figure that out right now. So, you know, if I just stop there for a second, let's just view what I've built. This has taken some time, been running for quite a bit of time. And again, I hadn't used this at all. I hadn't used this before. And this is what I've created so far. And is it great? No, there's obviously some issues here. I'd like to be able to control the formatting in a more direct way on the visualization. I'd like to be able to control some of the behavior of some of these items as well, and how they behave. There's probably some chart specific things I don't know how to do quite yet. But as you saw me do earlier on, I was able to Google and find out how to fix that formula that we couldn't fix. And I was able to get into a very basic formula. And so with enough time investment, I think it's fair to say that I'd actually end up building something that was very close to this, that resembles this very, very closely. And this was never about speed. This was never about sort of speed to usage, because I'd never used Google Data Studio before. What I did do is use some of my knowledge from Tableau. So that is one plus side. I was able to take some of my analytical experience and apply it to the product, sight unseen, and then use Google and any other tool to figure out how to do things. Okay. There are plenty of things here that I like that I don't see in Tableau. I like the layout in here. It's a lot more sort of guided. I like the ability to theme this. So, just go into, if I go into the edit tab here and we edit this, and I can just very quickly hit a theme and it just applies across the board. It's a really, really, really cool capability that I'd love to see in Tableau. And because it's a web product, it's actually innately easy to connect to data sources, especially if they're owned by Google, but also other web data sources through the partner list that you saw. And that's all inside of the product rather than having to go to another web page, download it, install it. And because it's running through the browser, this is running on Google's own infrastructure. Okay, so this is going to be far more reliable to use and so on and so forth. So let me just I can see here I've done something really bad here. I've kind of squashed the map there, and what I really should do is just add more space to this map, but you can only now see it now that we've got these sort of different colors here. So we can see here I've got some real bugs here in terms of speed and performance. So maybe that is something to be wary of. I'm recording a video, so that naturally eats up lots of resources on my laptop. That said, I record videos with other products and I never have sort of this kind of laggy behavior. So it's just an interesting thing to be aware of. Because it's running in the browser, you just want to make sure that your computer is optimized for heavy browser usage. Chrome uses lots of resources. Browsers today use a lot more resources than a typical application do sometimes. So just be sure that if you're going to use this, you have a computer that's ready to handle that. Or just make sure you debug sort of what's causing those performance issues, and don't do those things at the same time. Okay. Well, that's pretty much it. I think this is as far as I should carry on. I think if I carried on for another hour, you guys would just be seeing me kind of go across the same hurdles. What I will do though in the future is I will do this video again, having understood how to use the product. So I don't know how long that will take, but at some point in the future, I will rebuild this dashboard that we've seen in Tableau here. I'll try and do it as close to the original as we can. But this time around, I'll be building it from scratch with some knowledge of how the product works. And then we can start to see a more fair comparison of, how long these things are actually taking and where am I spending more time in Google versus Tableau. Okay. Well, this has been a long video. If you've watched it to the end, thanks for your patience. Thank you for watching. Let me know how you found this video. It's a slightly different thing to what I've done before. I might do it with other products like Power BI and ClickView, because I do get a lot of questions on the channel about those products. So rather than being ignorant about them, it might be a good idea just to try them for myself so I can give maybe more honest and sort of open opinions about why I use Tableau. But otherwise, if you've liked this video, hit the like button. If not, hit the dislike button. They all count for the same thing, engagement. And I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.